Hola, Virgo. Medicine here, showing up for a moon reading. We are here to understand the lunar period that's happening on April 5th to May 4th, 2019, so this year, and how that energy will influence you and how it's going to work with you. So we're here to take a look at um, for Virgos, how the moon's energy, how this lunar cycle, this lunar month is going to influence and work with Virgo. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to figure that out. We're here to figure out how the moon's energy is going to be working with you and through you during this lunar month. How is the lunar energy going to be working with and through Virgo during this lunar month? Right. So the Seven of Cups, interesting. And you've got the Star. Mm, the Sun. I was like, am I reading this right? It doesn't look like the Star. Then you've got Page of Cups in reverse. And then you've got Eight of Pentacles. You've got Queen of Wands. You've got the Hermit. You've got the Magician. You've got Ace of Cups. And you've got Page of Swords. I don't think that I can make those any better, but I will definitely try. Let me see if I can lift it up a little more. And look at that. Okay. All right. So, first of all, obviously, you're going through a rebirth process with the sun. The sun finds you with new zest for life. It finds you reborn. It finds you with great clarity. It finds you ready to take on the world, refreshed and renewed. You've come out of a long period, perhaps of solitude and isolation, and being able to see things um, from a deep introspective place. And it's like, okay, now I'm ready to take on the world, Virgo. So the Sun card is like, you're ready to take on the world. You're ready to do it. The Seven of Cups definitely suggests that you have made some pretty good choices for yourself as it pertains to the choices that were in your life that you were able to endure, that you were able to make the choice that best suits you when when you got overwhelmed. At times when you got overwhelmed with a lot of different options and a lot of different choices, that you were able to make ones that best suited you. Okay, I'm just trying to like pay attention. I'm just trying to keep my eyes open and look around for some things here, because and then this Page of Cups shows up, and she shows up with perhaps some bad news, and perhaps it could be pertaining to a loved one, some emotional connection. There might be some bad news pertaining to a loved one for some of you, Virgo. Um, with the Page of Cups here, um, you might be receiving that message. How would water receive the message from matters of the heart? It matters of intuition, matters of like psychic, like, very intuitively, very feeling emotionally. Like, I just get this bad feeling. I don't necessarily understand what the bad feeling is, but I get this bad feeling. You know what I mean? And Not sure what it's connected to with the Page of Cups in reverse like that. I get a bad feeling. I'm not sure what it's connected to, but I get a bad feeling nonetheless. Some of you might be dealing with a child who um, may be may have picked up some destructive emotional patterns. They could be emotionally manipulative. They could be very sensitive and using their sensitivities and whining and crying when they don't get their way. you know. But this person is like really, really new at all of this. They don't necessarily have any kind of understanding to what they're doing or why, if it makes sense. Like all they know is that they want attention. Like the Page of Cups in reverse, no matter what, to me is always innocent, and it's always just that innocent child that is looking for love and attention, and they just have absolutely no clue how to get it. So they're doing it in negative ways because maybe they feel like negative ways works best at this time. So just pay attention to that. I want to point out that you do have three um, major arcana cards here, because you've got the Sun, you've got the Hermit, and you've also got the Magician. Ooh, that kind of brings up a different thing for me too, because the Magician and the Hermit are ruled by Mercury. I mean, the Hermit is Virgo and the Magician is Mercury, but Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So I'm just saying there's a lot of mercurial energy going on around for you. Lots of erratic, sporadic changes, lots of trickery going on. But it's all for your good, though, because all of them show up in a positive way. So it's not in a way that is causing your demise. It's not in a way that's causing you destruction. It's actually good for you. There's a lot of good changes, but trickery nonetheless. um, with the Sun card, once again we talk about the time of rebirth. We talk about that time of coming back to life, of feeling like I can take on the world again. Want to celebrate life. I'm here. I'm excited. I've got greater clarity. I've got greater understanding. My purpose is divine. I've been divinely favored. I've been divinely purposed in life, and just really feeling fulfilled, and just really feeling like, okay, like I understand my purpose and now I can move forward with life. You've got the Hermit card coming in later on that talks about a time and a need to be introspective. The Hermit card and the Sun card are actually kind of opposition to one another in the major arcana wheel. So there's this balancing act happening between being ready for the world and being able to be that spot at the center of attention and being a spotlight, and yet at the same time going and taking time for yourself to really heal. You do a lot of service apparently around this time. There's a lot of service happening here for you around this time. There's a lot of work that you put in, and it's just very important. The Hermit card is like, okay, you've got clarity on things. Remember your tools. Remember at times when you give too much of yourself, or at times where you've given so much to where you need to go seek healing. It's all good. You've given your energies. Now it's time to go seek cleansing. It's time to go seek purification. It's time to go inward. Never let that go. That there's going to be times where you've got to go within, where you got to go inward, where you got to seek solitude, where you got to seek yourself. And I was just thinking, what just came to my mind is the Hermit card is Virgo, and you're Virgo. Ha ha ha. Funny, funny, funny. So anyway, but really, really taking time to understanding the patterns of life, really taking time to understanding the patterns, the web of life. Ooh, and then you got the Eight of Pentacles here, which is also Virgo. It's unfolding slowly but surely, Virgos. So really taking time to understand the patterns of life, and really taking time to understand the cycles of life and the way that they repeat and repeat and repeat, and how everything constantly repeats. Everything is a constant repetition. And then embodying that repetition, right? Embodying that repetition, making it a ritual, making it a routine, making it a daily practice. Everything repeats, everything cycles, everything repeats. And, the Eight of Pentacles is coming out like, okay, you need to be a part of that repetitious cycle so that you can ensure that you are manifesting the material wealth in your life that you would like. You know, something get something something I don't want to say something lost for something gained, but it's like the harder, the more work, the more practice I put in, the harder work that I put in, the more times that I practice and that I build and build, the more that I get from it, the more that I gain. The more that I do, the more that I gain. The more work I put in, the more I reap the rewards from that work. The more that I strengthen myself, the more that I produce what it is that I'm trying to produce. It's getting in the rhythms of the cycle of life and implementing that in your daily mundane world. So it might all start out as a practice for you, Virgo, and that's okay, but it's repetition, 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 repetition. Practice makes pretty good. The more that you do it, the better at it you'll get, and the more that you'll gain from the experience, materialistically. So for some of you financially, you'll gain more, for some of you it might be recognition, for some of you it might be um uh you might be seen from management in a good way because of your hard-earned work that you do. You might be able to produce material security in your life. It might be more fulfilling for you in general. Paying attention to your health at this time, making sure that you're doing things on a daily basis, that the more that you practice these things, if it's, I don't know, I get up every morning, I brush my teeth, something as simple. If it's, I get up every morning and I go for a jog, something that's simple. If it's, I get up every morning and I make sure I take my vitamins, something that's simple. Whatever the case might be, but I'm doing what I need to do for myself, and the rewards of that, the what's being produced of that is going to be produced over time, right? So it's not just going to happen the first time you do it, but the results, you'll see the results over time. The more that you practice, the more that you repeat, the more that you rinse and repeat, the more you'll see the results over time. So it's really, taking that time to really, like, just keep going, routine, build it, build it, build it, strengthen it, strengthen it, strengthen it, understand it, practice it, and the more that you do it over time, the more results that you'll see. So it's body building, your health building, your financial building, your career building, your talent building if you're working on a talent or a project or anything like that. But you're building on something, and you've got to give yourself permission to do the work, to put the work in. Which, come on, Virgo, you guys are pretty good at that anyway. um and the magician is really supporting that here too. I mean, you've got the tools. You've got the tools to manifest your desires. And what I see unfolding here with the seven of cups and then the eight of pentacles and the magician, it's kind of like this ascension that is happening in some ways, and a descension at the same time. It's like the simultaneous thing happening, because I get the seven of cups, that talks about good choices, making good choices for myself, and then I get the eight of pentacles, putting it into practice, and then I get the magician saying, okay, all right, you're ready, you've got the tools, you've got everything that you need in order to manifest what you want in your life. So there is definitely moving towards a positive outcome for you, a good outcome for you. And so long as you're willing to put forth the work, which it seems like you are. However, I am kind of concerned about some of this negative energy going on with you with the Queen of Swords here at the very center. Because it seems like that's kind of at the very center, that's at the very source. There's something that's going on with the Queen of Swords. Like, she speaks to me about imbalance, and she speaks to me about struggle. She speaks to me about an inability to let go of the past. She speaks to me about an inability to communicate with higher forms of consciousness and an inability to listen. Um, she speaks to me about maybe I'm listening to the wrong people. Maybe I'm getting my intel from the wrong people at this time. Like, that's what she's making me feel like. Like, I'm getting my intel, I'm getting the information from the wrong people, and that I'm growing I'm growing my life based on misinformed, misrepresented negative information versus positive information. So whatever is being communicated to this Queen of Swords here in the center, negative communication and growing one's life based on this detrimental um, intel that she's receiving, misinformed, deceptive information. You know, um, someone who might be caught up in illusion, what the illusion of peace and equality look like versus the truth of what peace and equality look like, because you got to have peace and serenity within in order to be able to have it without, baby. You got to be able to have it from inside of yourself to be able to have it outside of yourself. And this might be a person, or it could be a Libra, it could be a woman, it could be a womanly figure that is very connected to always like the facts and um, always like logic and reason and thought, and they may be very disconnected from emotions or instincts or intuition. For example, like the Queen of Wands is one of the most disconnected from intuition, from emotions. Um, um, or she could be a Libra, or this person could be a Libra. So it's either a woman who is very caught up in thought and intellect and words and verbal communication, even if it's to her detriment, or it could be a Libra, but kind of the same thing either way. So this person seems to be center focused for you for some reason. It's like there's good things going on around her, but then there seems to be some negative energies happening here too. Um, definitely blockage from emotions, and I get that really good here too with the Ace of Cups, because the Ace of Cups definitely talks about being blocked from feelings, being blocked from intuition, being blocked from psychic energy, being an inability to be able to cleanse oneself, mind, body, and soul, to be able to reconnect to my immortality, my eternal self, my soul self, to be unable to reconnect with Creator, higher power, unable to reconnect with. For some of you, if you might be thinking about having a baby, I'm wondering if you're struggling with the pregnancy process, or if you're not really able to get pregnant, or if you're not really able to see a pregnancy happening in your life. It's like you want a child, but something is just blocking you from actually being able to do the thing that you need to do in order to get there. There's something that's keeping you away from being introspective and reflective and with your dreams right now. Something that's keeping you away. And I think it's all things having to do with negative thoughts and negative ideas, negative things that are being communicated with you. Because you get another page of swords right at the end here, and it's also in reverse. So there has to be something going on, Virgo, that has to do with kids for you. There has to be something that's going on that has to do with either kids or has to do with a childlike energy. I don't know if some of you are thinking about having a family, but you just don't think it's a good time. Something's blocking you from being able to see that as a dream come true. Something's blocking you from being able to connect with that kind of energy, to allow yourself to kind of turn over this new leaf. It could be that you're so busy with life that you don't really feel like you have time or energy or, the effort or, space to really have children in your life. If some of you are thinking about having a child, um, it might just be that you just don't feel like you have the time or the space in your life to actually achieve something like that. And maybe sometimes it might feel like you never will, like it might not feel like you ever will. And then you have the Sun card too, which also talks about birth, like childbirth too. So, some of you are definitely thinking on childbirth. You've got a lot of child energy going on around you right now. A lot of child energy. You got the Page of Swords, you got the Page of Cups, and then you got the Sun card lots of child energy going on around you right now. But then you got this Queen of Swords. Might be too much in your mind. You might be too much in your thoughts. Just pay attention that you might be too much in your mind, and you might be too much in your thoughts pertaining to, things of your past, pertaining to the identity of that which you were, to really allow yourself to see, to have, to be able to see that future of becoming a mother or a father, of having your own family, of being able to produce new ideas into your life, new dreams, new hopes, new aspirations, being able to receive new insights, being able to like cross over from who you were to who you're becoming. Just pay attention that there's some things blocking you there. Because it's like, I see the light, and then all of a sudden, but my mind is filled with all these negative ideas and stuff like that. I want you to really focus in on the sun. You are reborn. You do got this. You have been reborn. You've been through a lot, and you have been reborn. But you might be allowing yourself to kind of regress. You might be allowing yourself to kind of regress into negative thoughts. Okay? So, with the Page of Swords, negative messages coming through. Negative news coming through it. It might be coming in by way of like, a text message versus a feeling that you might get with the Page of Cups. But this one comes through like a text message or a phone call, or by word of mouth, or by a letter, or by an email of some sort. That there seems to definitely be some bad news that's coming. You might already have a feeling about it. I hope it doesn't have to do with a pregnancy or anything like that. But definitely here, there seems to be something going on with children in your life. Definitely seems to be going on something with children in your life. On another note, those of you who are not necessarily thinking about having a pregnancy, these two people can be very childlike people in your life, who one is very emotional and one is very mental and is very like idea driven and is very thought and likes to communicate a whole bunch of stuff. But this person could be communicating a whole bunch of bad news that may not necessarily be true. And in fact, it's probably not true. You know that saying, out of the mouths of babes. But sometimes they say things that they don't really know what they're talking about. And it's just because they really are just naive, innocent kids. I don't mean to say that in a negative way, but what I'm trying to say here is that this is someone that whatever information they're getting, that's what they're going to talk about, even if that information is true or false. They don't know the difference. They don't understand the difference between true or false. But they've gotten false information. That false information is being reported. So chances are you might be receiving some information from this person, but this information is very misinformed. It doesn't have any weight on it. It doesn't have any truth on it. So, don't get too freaked out. Don't get too freaked out. But overall, your spread looks to be pretty okay. Looks to be pretty good. But I would definitely make sure that you are paying attention to your thoughts at this time, and how your thoughts might be blocking you from being able to see the truth and being able to open your heart and your mind to inner truths. Speaking of truth, inner truths, talking about truth. We just talked about truths. And then what appears? Inner truths. This is the card that you got. Inner truths, which to me says that the card has a lot to do with truths happening inside of you, in your inner world. And to be able to see the insights and things of what's happening inside of yourself. So inner truths, go ahead, and we were just talking about, being blocked from seeing the truth. And then all of a sudden your oracle card appears. It's like, hi, inner truth. Hi, me. There is a lot of depth to your feelings. You are on your way to understanding your feelings and desires more clearly. The next steps on your path will soon reveal themselves. Stay vigilant to new opportunities that may lead to the beginnings of novel projects or assist with current ventures. Look around you and within you. Be willing to do the work at the deepest level, as you will find jewels of wisdom. knowledge, and the inner voice all waiting patiently to assist you. Nature's crystals are created deep within the earth. Go deep and find your own treasures. Woo! I like that. I like that. In some ways, if you look at this image, in a way, like the different portals here, the different gateways here, they kind of look like crystals too. If you think about it, like this whole image in a different light, it's like you're in a cave and here's a whole bunch of crystals all around this cave. All around the cave is a whole bunch of crystals. That's cool to me. Um, but really taking time to go deep within yourself to find the answers and to find the treasure within the trauma is what this card is about. Just listening to what was going on with what was in the book there. It's finding that treasure that's in the trauma. It's finding that the diamonds, it's finding the crystals, it's finding the treasures that are hidden deep within the shadows of who you are. But you've got to be willing to go deep within yourself. And yet at the same time, also pay attention to what's going on outside of yourself that could be reflecting and responding to, excuse me, could be reflecting and responding to the truths that are hidden deep inside of yourself as well. So keep an open mind, allow yourself to keep an open mind, allow yourself to really become aware of your surroundings, become aware of what's inside of you. And I gather that's a big part of why you got the Sun card, which talks about things happening outside of self. And then you got the Hermit card, which talks about going within. So there's this balancing act happening. Look at that. And then we talked about inner truths. Look at that. Go us. We made it to the finish line. The Sun card talks about, expressing yourself outside. The Hermit card talks about going within. And the Magician card is that sort of intermediary between the two, between that's the thought, that's the mind, that's the conscious, that's the different levels of consciousness that is acting as intermediary between your exterior world and your interior one. Okay, so it could be for some of you that some of these energies are like past childhoods, for example, that are deep inside of yourself. Well, that's the reading. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's been super helpful for you. I really, truly do, Virgo. And I hope that it has served you in some way. And I hope that it'll continue to serve you in some way. I authentically, truly do hope that it continues to serve you in some way, in some way in your process, and that it really gave you some deep insights to look into as it pertains to your life and yourself and everything that you're going through and your evolutionary process. I love you very much, Virgo. Keep doing the great work that you're doing and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, Galanor.